lot of promises have been made in the lead up to Wednesday's civic election with just days to go. The question we're asking mayoral candidates this morning, how are you going to pay for those promises?
At 8:37, we're going to speak to Sean Loney, but right now we want to say hello to Kevin Klein. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Let's start with property taxes. It's the question that I think most people can relate to. It's what hits your bottom line. Will you freeze them, continue with some sort of annual hike as we've seen in the past year, or go even higher, Kevin?
Well, we've talked about this throughout the entire campaign, and my message hasn't changed. For this year, because the four-year budget was set, as much as I don't like the four-year budget, it is in place. So the 2.3% tax increase will remain as it has for the last, for the last 4 years. But that is because I cannot go into office and change a $1.5 billion budget within 90 days. It just wouldn't be reasonable. But we are going to start right away with a zero-based balanced budget review and determine where every dollar is going. We're going to trace every dollar, and we're going to figure out whether we have a revenue problem or a spending problem. And I believe we have a spending problem.
Is that your problem with the 4-year, and it's Greg Mackling, by the way, Kevin, is that your problem with the 4-year budget, is the fact that it's based on what's been spent in the past versus what maybe needs to be spent in different departments?
Yeah, well, the 4-year budget really became a bit of a shell game. They were able to move expenses, and they were able to move, drain out some reserve funds and try to pay it back before their 4-year time was up. But by law, they had to ratify the budget every year. I look at it this way, Greg, never before, and this is fact, never before in the history have we paid so much money, and so much money has been spent at City Hall to deliver such poor service to residents. Never before in history have we paid this much. And that needs to be looked into. We need to bring in a different culture. We need to start looking at some lean projects. We need to start looking at cost savings. We need to look at cost control. There's many things that we haven't done at City Hall. In fact, they haven't done a zero-based budget review in over 25 years.
Doesn't it make sense, though, Kevin, that you'd have to have more money spent every year with a growing population? I mean, it's just a line to say we're paying more. Of course we're paying more. We've got more people, more services, no?
Stats Canada said our population dropped last year. That, in fact, Niverville and West St. Paul are two of the fastest growing communities in Canada. So we talk about maybe units that have gone up in build. We've certainly seen those go up. But let's remember, every candidate who's making promises with a tax increase is doing so and taking that money to put towards their promise, whether it be roads, infrastructure of some sort. The money is always going to come in through your mill rate. So the assessment of your property, you notice, has gone up. We've got some candidates that want to increase your frontage fee. That gets used just for roads. We haven't even looked at saving money in the operations. And we spend over $800 a year on operations. City of Calgary is doing a zero-based budget review, and they've already saved over $100 million on regular operations. There's money inside. We have to determine where it's being spent, and we have to trace every one of those dollars. Because, again, I'll say it because it's very important. Never in our history has so much taxpayer money been spent to deliver such poor service to residents.
You've campaigned heavily on tackling crime. Is that going to mean more money for police? Because, the police already accounts for a huge chunk of the city's budget.
Well, the city police accounts for about 27% of the city's budget. The police in Thompson account for about 27% of their budget, and so on and so on. It's fairly common. But what I will do is I'll make sure that the money that is going to public safety remains with public safety. The City of Winnipeg, when I'm mayor, will stop taking money that is meant for public safety and taking it back to accommodations, $10 million a year for rent. That comes off the police service. So that cuts down the number of resources and opportunities the police have to protect you. We pay them for our cars, a service fee for gas, a service fee for cars. So all of that has to come into play, and we have to eliminate those secondary unnecessary charges, those shell games, if you will, in a budget, and allow those millions of dollars to be used for public safety.
So if I'm listening to you, I just want to be clear, Kevin.
I hope you are.
I'm listening closely. I want to make sure I'm clear here. So in an ideal world, the different line items that come out of the police budget that don't necessarily go towards policing, you'd like to see them moved more directly into the police budget? Help me there.
Yeah, so there's line items that come out that are fairly different. So if you're going to claim that the police take the most of our money, then you shouldn't be. And most other jurisdictions don't do this. Put the money over there for them to pay back the city of Winnipeg. Is that clear? So if we're giving them let's just use a small figure. So if I'm giving them $20 a year to run the police service, I shouldn't be asking them for $10 a year back for rent. That's not how you want the accommodation. But we do that so that we can have an accommodations department and employ more people when the police could take care of their own accommodations. This is all about creating and developing revenue for different departments. Fleet is another good department. We could cut fleet in half and save millions and millions of dollars at the city of Winnipeg and save departments money. We could allow that money to then be used on services. It seems to me that our services have gone down, and we know that they have by quite a huge percentage during the time that Gillingham has been our finance chair. But property taxes have gone up almost 20%. Frontage fees have had 2 huge increases. The assessed value of properties have gone up almost every year, and in some cases a tremendous amount. Water or sewer have gone up. All of your rates are going up. All we're really talking about in this election is 1 or 2% or 3% that people are going to use to build more roads that probably aren't going to get done within their term. I'm talking about it's time to look internal. It's time to do some cost control, and it's time to find out whether we have a revenue problem or we have a spending problem. In all the years that I've been there doing the budget, and I've done multi-hundred-million-dollar budgets, we have never seen the detail necessary to make a decision to find out where every cent is being spent.
So, Kevin, we just have less than a minute here, but you're talking about finding efficiencies, trying to find ways to save money, but also there's a revenue. If there is a revenue problem, then we look heavily to property taxes to bring revenue into the city. It counts for over half of our operating budget, what we bring in property taxes. Are there ever revenue streams you're looking at that you think might work to help bring in more money to the city, not just find those savings?
Well, I'm seeing the revenue streams that are being talked about for parking lots and such, and I don't see that as valuable. I don't see how that's going to help the city move along. But I've already introduced fees for vacant properties and derelict buildings. If we were to apply fees of $5,000 the first year, 10 the second, and so on, where it's being developed, we will collect some revenue from those folks, but we'll also be able to see those properties start to be rebuilt. That's going to start adding to our tax base, our property tax base. We're going to start seeing more businesses as we deal with crime. We're hopefully going to see more businesses come back downtown because the insurance is what's killing a lot of businesses. To buy a business downtown or to open one, the insurance cost is astronomical. But if we work on crime and we fix our homeless population, then we're going to start seeing more and more businesses come down to or open up anywhere in the city, and we'll start to see more prosper, and we'll have a more sustainable budget. Our budget right now is not sustainable. Although your tax will go up 2.3% or under Scott Gillingham's 7.5%, the assessed value of your house is still going to go up to get the mill rate. This is what they're not telling you. And we're still going to pay debt on all of the money that they've already borrowed. And in Scott's plan, you're going to borrow another $500 million. So you're going to have to pay debt on that. You're going to pay the interest and the fees on that. So we really, really have to finally look inside and see where every dollar is being spent and how, and determine, is it a spending problem or a revenue problem? And until we do that, I don't think it's fair. And it's certainly not the right time to be hammering citizens in Winnipeg with more and more tax and fees from every other part of the city we can. We need to get our spending under control, and I will do that.
Kevin Klein joining us live on 680 CJOB. Kevin, thank you for the time. We appreciate it, sir.
Thank you.